welcome back to Plays and Days Vacation Bible School Performing Arts Camp Tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll talk about our summer rehearsals with our lead actors. These happened in my home, but it could be done anywhere you have a place to work. Though typically Plays and Days productions happen during days within a shorter calendar period, because we had 7 weeks from the time we chose our lead actors, we spread out our rehearsals over the weeks of summer. Typically, we had 1 2 to 3 hour rehearsal each week. Kids were busy with summer jobs and vacations and everything else, so this worked out really well for us. Now, each actor was provided with their script and a basic recording of the songs to start learning before the beginning of those 7 weeks. And they were strongly encouraged to memorize everything as soon as possible. They did a pretty good job of that, so it made the rehearsals go very efficiently. We broke up the rehearsals by scenes, so only those in a particular scene had to be present. This always works great. This way no actors would be sitting around wasting time and or distracting the other actors. By week 6, we had made it through blocking the entire play, and also worked on all of the songs together. The kids were excited about the music, and we were able to record their voices onto tracks for rehearsal. If you use What a Fine Mess Nest, you will hear the teens from our VBS PAC on the rehearsal tracks. By week 7, our registration period had officially closed. But we know people in our community often do things or change plans at the last minute. So we kept in mind we might have more or less participants than we planned for, or even more or less than had originally registered within the registration period. We knew there could be last-minute signups and last-minute cancellations on the registrations. Even though our advertising campaign was very thorough, registration numbers were on the small side. Even so, we had originally planned supplies for 30 to 50 participants, so we figured out what we would do if our number grew at the last minute or stayed small. So you would ask yourself questions like, how would the audition process be handled differently? How would each scene need to be played a little differently? What would we do if a ton of kids signed up at the last minute? We'd need to prepare for that. What would we do if our number stayed small and we needed kids to play more than one part? What would we do if we needed the leads to play more than one part? Well, they'd been practicing all summer and having so much fun, they were very game to do whatever it would take to make the play work. And like most actors, very happy about the possibility of having more time on stage. For our last rehearsal, we had all the leads show up so we could run the whole play. They took turns filling in the parts that would eventually be played by our participating kids. We discussed the blocking changes that might need to be made depending on the amount of kids we had in each scene. We talked about how they might need to divide up the lines, etc. Now, later that week, all of the team leaders, including the lead actors, met at the venue to get familiar with the general layout, to see the stage, to see the backstage area, and the spaces where the different elements of the VBS PAC would be happening. So we talked about where we would hold the auditions, how we would hold the auditions. They were given some training to help with that. We looked at the main meeting room, the craft and costume station, the snack area, the singing practice room, and the blocking and choreography station. As well as we identified some smaller separate areas where we could work in smaller groups with kids needing some extra help. We used a fellowship hall and some classrooms for our stations and did not use the actual stage until dress rehearsal. That way we left the worship center open for other church uses during the week. We discussed the audition process, guesstimating the number of kids, and came up with a plan. Now, you can read about the process we plan to use in our Plays and Days how-to ebook, which works especially well when you have large numbers of kids auditioning. But we also came up with an alternate plan should the group of participants be smaller than we expected. Discussing all of this at the venue was a really big help for everyone's self-confidence and peace of mind coming into VBS PAC week. After this meeting at the venue, we met back at the house, shared a meal, talked, laughed, got to know each other a lot better, and did a quick run-through of the play, touching on a few rough spots for the kids. The set pieces were done and at the home, so the leads had a chance to get familiar with how they would work. Seeing the set pieces got them very excited. Now this thing's real. More about the pieces we created in the video Playing with PVC on our Plays and Days YouTube channel. By the end of this last get-together, we had really gelled as a team, and all the questions that could be answered at that juncture were answered. There were still a lot of unknowns, but at least we were in it together. Next time, we'll talk about some last-minute advertising we did to try and increase our numbers. We'll see you next time with another Plays and Days Vacation Bible School Performing Arts Camp tutorial.